Hello, I'm Cumulus, and here is your weekly Astro-Calendar report for December 21st through the 28th, 2020, where we'll take a look at the energy patterns for the week ahead and the best ways to navigate those, and also the signs most affected by those energies. So let's get started here. There's a lot to talk about, and before I even go into any of this, I want to start out with some Pisces wisdom from my dad, bless it, that, when there's a lot of flies in the room, he said, and I love all animals, so we'll just talk about removing the flies, maybe putting them outside, right? We want to put all the flies outside, but we're trying to reach around and grab, and there's all these flies and all these things and all this energy, right? And we kind of like either go crazy or get frustrated or feel like it's just too much, right? um, but when we focus on one at a time and we're like, here, can I help you outside, can I help you outside, can I help you outside, we accomplish more, so basically what I'm saying by that, or what he was saying by that, is that we achieve more momentum and can keep the positive energy and the accomplishments when we make small decisions and work on small things, one thing at a time. If we can find a way to take these big shifts that we're all experiencing and break it down into a daily level, or even a momentary level, focusing on those one thing at a time kind of things. And so we'll see how this week, we've got a very big shift happening here, right? The winter solstice, this great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, which this also begins Capricorn season. Happy birthday, Capricorn. Sorry that your birthday season headline is sort of like getting overlapped by all of this stuff. Okay, back to like that headline, because Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius is telling us like there's this reinvention happening somewhere, right? For all of us, the Saturn being structure, Jupiter being growth, right? And the sign of Aquarius, which is interconnectivity, reinvention, radical ideas, getting a little weird about stuff. It's that abstract nature of things. They're asking us through the coming years, especially through 2021, and then also through 2023 with some of these responsibilities we're taking on, to really reinvent a part of our life. So there's this big like push of like something big shifting around, and it's feeling like overwhelming. What does this mean? What does Age of Aquarius mean? If this is really the beginning of that, right? So our minds have a hard time wrapping around these big collective shifts, right? And we all see these things happening. So it's about how we're working with it in our own life, in the microcosms, the moments to moments, the days to days, and acknowledging that contrast. And so what I mean by the contrast is this energy, this new energy is very exciting. It's hopeful. It's, connected. It's out there, right? And the old energy, is not that. And so this week, while we have this challenging square through midweek, and this is one of the microcosms, okay, where we notice a big picture weather pattern that's all about moving ahead, right? So we're, let's say the beginning of the week, and I'll get more specific in a second, but we're starting this huge business project or committing to this new line of work or something like that. Those are big picture things. But then the smaller picture things, like this weather pattern through midweek, can show us that contrast where we're like, whoa, this doesn't feel right. Something feels like major resistance about this. Where it's like, okay, well, I thought this energy, everybody has been saying this great conjunction, all of this is really good. But when we get a square between Mars and Pluto, it's like coming up against a brick wall sometimes. Okay, we deal with an intense energy of the masculine forces, specifically being Mars, and Pluto being a very power-oriented energy. So to break that down on a like a negative kind of vibe, that can be a very bullyish or manipulative or no choice kind of feeling to that energy, where we get In the worst cases, like those manipulations or ultimatums or somebody kind of being a bossy pants, you know what I mean? Or stepping out of their lane, so to say. It can feel like a very bureaucratic kind of energy. It can feel like that control, and asking us to see that contrast about power and empowerment, because Pluto is about power, control. Where are we controlling our controllables, and where are there things that aren't in our control? Okay, so working with this energy can be a little bit challenging, but then at the end of the week, the supportive trines to Uranus could help us find some sudden solutions, or abstract ways of solving the problem. That when Uranus is a trine, things kind of just work out sometimes. There's a radical idea nobody's thought of, or you get an unexpected phone call or see something on social media and you're like, oh, I'm going to investigate this, or I'm going to take them up on this opportunity or something. And then everything kind of clicks. So let's have some hope this week if we're feeling this challenge through the beginning to middle of the week. And that's here on the calendar too, denoted. So that's kind of the overview, but let's start at the beginning of the week, just since we've got the calendar up here, and then I'll get specific into how to work with these energies and the signs affected here. But this great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn happening here on Monday. Okay, so as Mercury goes into Capricorn Sunday night, Sun goes into Capricorn Monday morning. Here's our transition zone, okay, where we're coming into the solstice. That's our Capricorn season moment. That's our Jupiter-Saturn conjunction moment. Like, here it is, right? So acknowledge that something big is shifting and have those Saturnian boundaries around what isn't fitting this reinvention phase. A lot of times when we start a very powerful new energy, or we have a powerful new intention, there's something that doesn't match that intention that kind of flares up, and we're like, whoa, like, what's going on here? And so I could definitely see that happening this week, where a lot of us are vibing up in a sense, moving and meeting this Aquarian energy, and stepping up to where we can step up to this sort of what's next kind of vibration. And then we've got this Mars square Pluto, Mercury square Chiron thing happening here that's activated by the moon, starting Monday night, going into Tuesday and into Wednesday as the moon's in Aries there. So that's what I'm talking about this this energy of contrast. Okay, so there could be some things that are just out of your control, right? And so that's when we have to remember when and how to stay in our own lane, and invite and allow only what we want. For instance, deciding not to allow or converse with forms of hostility. Having a boundary around ways that we communicate and empower each other, right? Because sometimes with Mars and Pluto, especially since Mercury is involved, which is our communicator, we can get things that feel hurtful, because Chiron being that wounded healer, so to say, where since those two squares, like a square in astrology is the challenge angle, okay? They're asking us to do something about it. Like, we have to do something about this kind of thing. But the solution is to go big or go home with Mars and Pluto. Like, you have to work with both energies, this intensity, this movement, and also these conversations or lack thereof, that are feeling on this sort of wounded side, or the side of like, how can we invite a little healing into this situation? And there's always a way to work with this energy, and the ways to work with squares is to vibe it up. And that's what I meant by saying go big or go home, is like, you have to like put a spin onto it, and with this Mars square Pluto, I've been sort of like, I don't often get into celebrity astrology, but I've been looking at some charts lately, okay? And a lot of famous people actually have this in their chart because it's a very powerful energy, and they figure out how to use their power, right? But they often come through these challenges of these things that are very unfair or out of their control, or manipulative of others trying to control their power, or to do other things, And so what I'm saying by that is we can channel this into doing something powerful. Like, so there's two options with Mars and Pluto a lot of times, and one is the more obvious. If it feels like you're coming up against a brick wall and there's something out of your control, and you're like, I don't know what's going on here, but no, sometimes you have to swerve around it. There's nothing you can do. You just kind of like are like, I'm gonna keep doing my thing over here and continue to be blessed and let this thing work its way out, which is the waiting for it to pass option. I'm not saying not do anything. I'm just saying look at where you can honor how you're empowering yourself, and what kinds of communication you want to be taking part in, and ways to find that common ground with people. And if there's no common ground or not seeing eye to eye, then it's time to either do the swerve or put your foot down about something. If somebody's trying to bossy pants, or if somebody's trying to pull strings, sometimes the opposite can be true, or we're like, not today. Seen this happen one too many times. And the thing with this angle, it's happened twice already during this Mars retrograde. That was September, October, November. So this is old news, right? Because September, October, November was before this. So that's why I'm talking about this contrast. You're like excited about this thing, and then somebody comes up in your face about some other thing, and you're like, what's going on? There's the decision moment. You know what I mean? And so, removing a big obstacle out of your way by channeling this stay in your own lane intensity. That's the best way I can put it, other than that it sucks, and a lot of times it's kind of frustrating, and feels, like angry. Mars can be like angry sometimes, but with Pluto, like, you don't have a choice. Sorry, like something else going on. So I hope that can help navigate that energy. It will not be here for see, like, look, oh, there's a triangle. There's a triangle, two of them. That's the good angle, the harmonious angle, where we see elements of the same element link up to help each other, right? The square, they're not the same. They're not seeing eye to eye. So there's this moment of like figuring out what has to happen. Okay. So this weekend, yes, there's a Sun square Chiron, but this is more of like a healing moment, in my opinion, because we have, if you look at Sunday here, Sun trine Uranus, and then Friday, Mercury trine Uranus. Those are, our energies of sudden advancement, or the good news received, or some good work done, where we're like, because it's earth signs, we've got Capricorn and Taurus linked up. So our values, our backbone, our securities, coming into some radical solution, or news or messaging, with Mercury, where we see something on the email, or we, hear something from a friend, and we kind of make that choice to, do something a little abstract, and it turns out that things just sort of click along on their own with Uranus a lot of times. But it's things we can never really plan on too, and that can be like, like what's gonna happen, but what I'm saying there is, like, as challenging as it might be, this little like moment, as we emerge into this new season and we see this contrast, there's hope for these kind of weird alignments to happen if we'll allow them. Okay. So on a lunar level here this week, we talked about the aspects, and what those mean. But Monday, it's very important to, if you're going to start something you want to last a long time, you do it on the first degrees of a cardinal sign, right? First degrees Capricorn, first degrees Cancer, first degrees Aries, first degrees Libra. So we want to be careful, though, because the moon's void, of course, until 5:32 that day. So we want to manage our self-care, do the meditating on the new season, take it easy, do administrative stuff, that kind of thing, right? And then our, Wednesday night, moon void, of course, same thing. Okay, that's our time to sort of lay off the gas. And then Saturday, there's laundry day, right? With that Sun trine, or Sun square Chiron there. Let's get it fixed here on this weekend, and put the pieces back together with everything that happened here midweek. So the signs most affected by all of this, starting from the beginning here, the signs Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini are in such an ideal angle for this reinvention or this growth potential with this great conjunction here. Not to say it's only those signs, but those are the signs really linked into this harmony of this angle. And also the fire signs, Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, feeling really good about that. So also we could mention that Scorpio and Taurus and Leo, are in more of an angle where they're going to be working with the balance of these energies. Might be feeling a little more responsibility, might be feeling a little more of that tension between the old and the new, really making every moment and every decision count. And to be, when you're dealing with this, those signs need to think more on the realistic and responsible side of this energy, whereas the previous signs I mentioned are more on the lofty side of things. And then midweek, signs most affected by this cantankerous and bully, gross energy is Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn. So Capricorn birthdays, you might be thinking, well, what's going on? I thought this was going to be an exciting birthday. Well, it is, but we're just working with our controllables and our own power structures here. So then the signs going into the weekend here, the earth signs Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo are in a most supportive line there with Uranus Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So those earth signs really dialing in on the potentials for upgrades or having something work out for them. Everybody can take advantage of that energy though. So as we go into next week, we'll be feeling the full moon in Cancer. Notice, full moons do dial energy up. So notice we don't really get that much of a break. So let's use this next weekend here, this Uranian energy. Let's take a chance on some things. Let's get some of that movement happening, work on the one thing at a time kind of stuff, and have in the back of our mind how this aligns with a new energy now. It aligns with a new thing. So comparing what we're doing moment to moment or day to day with our background realignment of this new Aquarian energy might be a good thing. So the full moon in Cancer will seal the deal on 2020, and we'll get ready to move into the next year. Venus square Neptune, we'll talk about that next week. That can be a very beautiful energy. A very nurturing and caring full moon, it looks like, for the end of the month. It's almost like a mother energy being like, it's okay, there's been a lot of transitions here, as you popped into this new season, you had to deal with some things, and it's all, let's take care of ourselves kind of thing. But we'll talk about that next week. And if you have any questions or want to make any comments about what's going on for you this week, I would love that. We can always get more into detail with personal readings too. You can get that calendar that I had behind me also, and support these videos on my Patreon, which is Astrology with Cumulus there. You can also follow on Instagram and Twitter there, Astrology with Cumulus or at Astro-Cumulus. And to order readings or do any of that stuff, it can always all be accessed from astrologywithcumulus.com. So I hope to see you next week, and if you would care to share the video and comment and subscribe, that kind of helps things out here on the YouTube. And I will talk to you next week. Thank you so much, star signs. See you later.